now everything is apart. Everything is apart again. Hi and welcome to this channel. My name is Anya and I am a fashion designer, and I cannot believe but this is video 4 of making my own wedding dress in just 3 weeks. So this is really exciting, and I am really excited for you to see the whole process, all the ups and downs, which there were quite a few, and I really hope that you will like it. But just a little disclaimer before we continue. In this video I will not finish the dress because it turned out that it got a bit more complicated than what I thought it will be. So there's gonna be video 5 where I will finish the dress and show you the wedding, hopefully. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay, let's get this video going. So here I finally have the cutout pieces from the main fabric and also from the lining fabric, and now we're gonna start the process of finally assembling this dress together and making it into something that I can get married in. Here I started with the back of the skirt, which also includes the train part of the skirt. This is a very dramatic and elegant feature of the dress, so I needed some extra care. So what I did was I laid out the fabric and I pinned the back pieces together face to face so that later on I can sew them with the sewing machine. I'm being super careful, making sure that the edges were aligned and that the pattern piece is gonna turn out the way that I needed it to be. Once the back was pinned, I moved on to the darts. These are super important for giving the dress its shape, especially in the back because of the booty and because of the curves of the body. So precision is key here, and I made sure to take more time to ensure everything will fit me perfectly. Now, the next part that I was pinning together was the upper front part. The first thing that I pinned was the breast or chest darts on one side, and then of course I had to repeat the same thing on the other side, and I had to make sure that I was as precise as possible to keep the symmetry, because of course this is gonna be in the front and it's gonna be very visible, so it needs to be exactly the same on both sides. Then I grabbed another part, and the sewing pattern is attached together with those breast sewing pattern pieces, and it's in the part where my waist is, and it's kind of like this bridge between the skirt and the upper part. And of course I have to attach it with my pins according to those markers so that everything is aligned. And there you go. Now here we have the back part of the top. The difference between this pattern piece and the frontal one is that because this is on the back and we don't need to cover any curves, this one doesn't have the darts, so it's just simply pinning together that waist pattern piece with the upper part right here. And you can also see that these two are completely separate because the sketch and the original design has a very open back. A key decision I made for the top was to construct it double-sided, using the main fabric for both the outer layer and lining. This added structure and ensured the dress looked flawless inside and out. So in simpler words, the back of the dress and the front of the dress were made out of the same material. Now here we have all the pattern pieces laid out. Like I said, the top is gonna be double layered from the same main material, and here are the skirt pieces made from the main fabric and from the lining. So these are all the pattern pieces that I will need for this dress. Now it's finally time for sewing. I have to say, industrial sewing machines are amazing. They are fast, precise, and make sewing such a joy. One day I hope to have one of these at home. And if you're looking for a good one, this brand Tixi is absolutely fantastic. Assembling these first few pieces was so nice and just exciting because the dress was finally starting to take shape, and I was just excited that it was coming together, still with very high hopes and high expectations. So just like I said before, all the pattern pieces that I pinned together, now I'm just going over it with a sewing machine and I am removing the pins while I'm doing it. Now, after all the pattern pieces were sewn, I had to iron them. Here you can see the back of the dress, and what I did with each piece was I spread the seam allowances and I tried to iron them as flat as possible on both sides so that the seam is as flat as possible, because that is gonna really give a beautiful look and aesthetic at the end of this process, and the dress is gonna stand super nicely. So I just came home after the first day of actually sewing the dress together, and I just wanted to tell you that I am so excited and I just cannot wait for this dress to come together. It's such a dream come true, and I think I had a pretty productive first day. I didn't do as much as I would want, and I thought that I will be able to sew the whole first phase of the dress, but I didn't manage, so tomorrow I will continue, but still very excited, very happy. This process of just sewing all the pattern pieces together took me around 2 days, that's why you can see the outfit change, but I was really happy with the progress that I was making, and here I was not worried yet that I would not be able to finish the dress in time for the wedding. So I don't know if you saw my previous video, but in that video I introduced this space that I am working in, which is this sewing studio that was recently opened, and it's just incredible, and I am just so happy that I'm being able to work here because the sewing machines are really good and professional. Having that gigantic ironing table, gigantic cutting tables is just a dream come true, and is making my process so much more enjoyable and efficient, and I am so happy. Right here you can see that I was finishing sewing that skirt that we talked about before, and once I made that long seam, it was the time to iron the skirt pieces. It's really important to always iron after each sewing stage because it just enhances the quality and it makes the process and the final product so much better. And after those pattern pieces were ironed, it was time to finally pin them together for the next stage. So what I did was I positioned them face to face and I pinned them down the edges on the left and right, so that then later on I can go with the sewing machine and really make that final stitch so that the skirt is finally full. You can see right here also that I am just pinning and making the skirt from the main fabric, and the reason for that is that lining comes later. I will insert the lining into the skirt or into the dress after it's fitted and after it fits me perfectly, so that I don't have double the work. And now that everything was pinned, it's time to sew the skirt together. You can really notice how this whole cycle repeats: pinning, sewing, ironing, pinning, sewing, ironing. So that's just what clothing making is. And now it's time to move back to the top. Now I had quite a few problems with the top because everything was made double, as I said, and I really had to think about how will I turn it around so that all the seams are on the inside and everything is double layered and on top of everything aligning. So it was quite a challenge and it took some tries to get it right. But this was also the first time I was making something that was double-sided, so I really didn't imagine and I couldn't understand the challenges that this is gonna present, and it took me, I think, double or triple the time because I was so inexperienced of making this for the first time. But now I learned and I am happy that I can use the knowledge in the next dress or the next creation. Now, I will not bore you with all the technicalities and the difficulties of putting this top together, but let's just say it was a process. As I said before, it's a lot of ironing, pinning, and sewing, and of course checking and double checking and triple checking. And after quite a few hours of battling this top part of the dress, it was finally done and ready. Now, of course, we have to think about how are we gonna put the dress up and down, and I decided to just include the invisible zipper. So here I was just attaching it first with the pins to the skirt because just the skirt part had the zipper because the back was so open that it didn't need it in the upper part. And then after I was done with pinning it with these metal pins, I also sew it with some hand stitches so that it was really holding it in place, and it's gonna be easier for me to then go with the sewing machine on top of it and sew it exactly as I wanted it. Now, I am really afraid of sewing the zippers. For me, that is still a pretty hard part, so I was really nervous, but I was trying to stay calm and do it slowly and with a lot of precision and cautious. And I'm happy to say it turned out pretty okay. And now it was the time to actually put the skirt part of the dress and the top part of the dress together so that I can try it on for the first time and see how it looks. So I was really excited for this part. My hands were actually sweating when I was making this last seam before the final reveal because I was so excited but so nervous. This is of course the first moment the dress really starts looking like a dress, and I couldn't wait to try it on and see how it all came together. And the expectations were really high. Now, after the dress was finally together, I decided to put it on a mannequin, and I was just trying to take it in, checking out all the angles, seeing if everything is done properly, seeing if there are any corrections that I can spot from this point, and just admiring the creation that I made with my own two hands, which was absolutely amazing. I went through all the seams and the zipper and just evaluating my work and being super excited to finally try it on. Now, here it is. And I don't know about you, but I was not loving it. It was not exactly what I envisioned. It was not like the sketch. So I started to freak out a little bit. So I just came home after I had a fitting for a wedding dress, and now everything is apart. Everything is apart again. And we leave in like 7 days, and like, look at this. This is how it looks like right now. Everything is apart again. So I don't know. I'm having a headache and I'm shaking, and I really thought that like I'm done and it's gonna be fine, and now this. So yep, I don't know. We'll see. Try our best. So of course this was not ideal. The next day I just took for myself and I didn't do absolutely anything. I just ripped the dress a bit more so that I could prepare for all the repairs, and I will continue once I'm a bit more calm about the situation, and I will share with you all the adjustments in the next video. That was quite a roller coaster, wasn't it? This was a way more complex journey than what I thought, but I am so relieved that I still have a bit less than a week until we're getting married. But in the next video, in video 5, I will try to create the sleeves for this wedding dress and attach them so that the dress looks exactly as I wanted it. And in the next video, I will show it to you, hopefully together with a bit of bits and pieces of the wedding so that you can see it in action. And I am so excited to be getting married and to finally finishing the dress, and just thank you so much for going through this process with me and following along, and I'm really grateful for all the love and support that I have been getting. So if you want to check out the final part, subscribe, like this video, and I will see you there. Bye!